Cara has had her moments over the past few years that are very concerning and filled with major red flags.
Cara Delevingne finally explains her odd behavior with Megan Thee Stallion at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards.
I'm concerned not only about Cara, but the people she's surrounding herself with, because clearly they don't want the best for her. Cara Delevingne is clearly struggling and has been for some time. This top model has been exhibiting erratic behavior. More recently, she was seen having an episode outside of an airport after being denied access onto Jay-Z's private plane. But that's just one moment in a series of concerning incidents. Cara clearly needs help and her team isn't going to save her. So let's get into it. So let's talk about what is going on with Cara Delevingne. If you don't know who Cara is, she's a model who gained traction in 2012 and 2013. At the age of 20, she was fashion's new it girl with her distinctive eyebrows and her modeling abilities, which ended up taking her far. She has been on the cover of Vogue 15 times, and she's currently an ambassador for Dior and Puma. She's apparently earned over $50 million modeling, so she's a big deal. And honestly, I'm surprised that Dior and Puma have her as an ambassador when her behavior is so erratic. So on September 7th, Cara was spotted out and about at the airport, and she was acting strangely. Strange enough to where the paparazzi caught it and it ended up making headlines. Some news articles were claiming that Cara was too high to fly, which she just came back from Burning Man, which is a festival out in Nevada. It's held every year and it's kind of like a communal experience. You go there with a bunch of goods and you swap drugs and you party. There are tons of people who go to Burning Man each and every year, and they don't have problems like these. She was actually boarding a private jet owned by Jay-Z of all people, and she was wearing dirty socks and dirty clothing and acting erratically. As you guys can see, Cara is wearing a Britney Spears shirt here, which doesn't necessarily help the problem, and she's wearing those yellow socks, which she stuck out the SUV on her way to the airport. Just a week before these photos came out, Cara was seen in her car smoking some type of pipe. I would assume that she's smoking weed, but it's definitely not a good look to use drugs as you're in the car. There are a lot of major red flags when it comes to Cara's behavior, but before we go through a timeline of these events, I want to look a little closer at that one day at the airport that's caught everyone's attention. So Cara arrived at the airport with her assistant and her team. She was wearing that Britney Spears shirt with some black joggers and some yellow socks, no shoes at all. Her assistant had her dog with them, and her assistant was also wearing a straw hat that has the word hungover right on it. So clearly they just had a couple days of partying at Burning Man. As they're approaching Jay-Z's private jet, you can clearly tell that there's something off with Cara. So personally, I actually get really bad flight anxiety, but I don't ever look like this. And oh my god, I mean, it looks like she dropped the leash to her dog, and she's clearly visibly, like, it seems like upset or bothered or just maybe frantic or nervous. This dog is also giving me major anxiety, especially in the second clip we're gonna watch together. But this behavior was alarming enough that the staff who were running this private jet actually made it clear that Cara cannot fly, and that's because she appeared to be too high. And I don't want to shame her for using any substances. Actually, I really think that someone needs to go and help her. So supposedly a member of Cara's team spoke with staff at the airport, and eventually they removed Cara's bags from the plane and put it back in the SUV. As you guys know, she was recently at Burning Man, and some sources told the Daily Mail that at the time at Burning Man, she did not eat or shower at the event, which if you're not eating, that's usually a sign that you're using something else. Quote, she just spent days in the desert, not eating all that that much, and she looked disheveled because she hadn't had time to scrub up yet. The source went on to tell the Daily Mail that her friends are worried about her because of her erratic behavior. They recognize that Burning Man is a complicated situation, but still there's something off here. So we don't need to watch this entire clip, and I actually sped it up, but this was after she was denied access to the plane, and she seems visibly upset. Honestly, I'm a little bit bothered that the dog is not on a leash. I mean, I get it, my dog doesn't run away, but if I was like at the airport, I don't know. This is, as a pet owner, this stresses me out. Also, I have the same yellow suitcase, which when I saw that, I was like, oh, triggered. But you can see Cara is like outside of the car, running around on the phone. She seems to be upset, probably because she was just denied. I mean, I wonder if the airport like called Jay-Z and was like, you know what, Cara seems a little bit like off. Maybe she shouldn't take this flight. I've never heard of someone like being denied access to a plane, let alone a private jet, for being super messed up, because you guys know celebrities use drugs all the time. But I'm honestly surprised that her team even allowed her to be outside of the car and to do this, because clearly there's paparazzis around, they're taking videos, and this isn't a good look. So I'm concerned not only about Cara, but the people she's surrounding herself with, because clearly they don't want the best for her. I mean, she's running around with a cigarette in her mouth on the phone, flinging back and forth. It doesn't seem like she's in the right mindset. We all know that Hollywood is a dark and scary place, and these people in the industry, they don't care about your well-being, which is why I'm worried about Cara, because it seems like she's going down a path of destruction. Cara actually recently celebrated her 30th birthday, and I believe she was in Ibiza on a boat with her friends, but people noticed that her legs had a bunch of bruises on them, and her psoriasis that she's had has been flaring up. A friend who saw her in Ibiza said that she was more messy out there than she had been in a while, but says that she's okay about turning 30 and had a great time. And that friend right there sounds like an enabler, because you're going to the press and telling them that your friend is messy, but she's okay, she's all right. And the worst part of it all is that it's happening publicly. During that same trip, she was seen standing on top of a vehicle while partying with Margaret Robbie and Sienna Miller. A close friend told The Sun that they were all incredibly concerned about Cara's well-being. And it's not like this incident at the airport is an isolated situation, because Cara has had her moments over the past few years that are very concerning and filled with major red flags. Recently in July, she went on to the Jimmy Fallon show to promote her new project, and she did a magic trick as part of the interview, but when she was holding up one of her cards, she was visibly shaking. Cara's only 30 years old, so she's not like, you know, a 60, 70, 80-year-old person who, you know, naturally shakes a little bit. So this could be a sign that she's on some type of substance.
I've shuffled the cards. So, as I've shuffled the cards, I'm going to run through the cards. Yeah, this is perfect. Let me give you some light. Yeah. I've shuffled the cards, and now I'm going to like shuffle through the cards, and you're going to tell me to stop whenever you want me to stop. Okay, go. Tell me to stop.
Stop.
Okay, so this is your card. I'm not going to look at it. So
yes, I see it.
I'm going to put it to the camera.
Yeah.
I'm also not going to look at it.
Can we all see it?
Yeah?
All right, good. All right, we all see it.
Can you see how much my hand is shaking?
Yes. Is that part of the trick?
So now I'm going to put the card.
Some people could say that Cara was nervous and that's why she's shaking, but she's been in the industry for over a decade. She's done a ton of interviews like this, so I don't think that she's nervous, because, I mean, if it was me, I would have been shaking too. But in all honesty, I feel like these late night talk shows are all just like fake. I mean, the ending of this magic trick included a bottle of champagne that had the word like 7 of Hearts printed on it, and like, really, how would she be able to do this? It's just all for the show. So I don't even think this is like a magic trick that she came up with. It's probably something a producer pitched and she did, and this is what we got.
I want the audience to look.
See, yes.
All right, so
go zoom in.
Really zoom in.
There you go.
7 of Hearts. What? How did he do that? Wow, magic. 7 of Hearts. Cara Delevingne, everybody.
Honestly, in my opinion, her body language is giving nervous, which again, I don't think there's any reason for her to be nervous unless maybe she's on something that would cause her to be scared to, I guess, slip up on camera. I did find one article that mentioned that Cara does have ADHD, which could account for her acting jittery and, awkward on camera, which I totally get. I have ADHD too, which, causes you to bounce all around and to shake your leg or to play with your hands. So maybe this is why Cara is struggling on camera. But there are some things she does which we can't tell whether she's okay or if she's just quirky, or really what she's thinking in the moment. Back in May, Cara attended the Met Gala and she wore a red suit, which she ended up taking off, and you see her chest painted gold, which honestly I think is an awesome look, but some people see this and categorize it as another red flag that contributes to her overall erratic behavior.
She did my wedding dress. I got married this year, so I just felt like it was appropriate that I come to the ball and celebrate that. And this is the dress. I don't know. We talked about so many things, and all of a sudden we're in neon.
And the color, I mean, it's just striking. It's just so amazing.
So like I said, I think the Met Gala look is pretty cool. And I mean, clearly she had a team who helped her out with this. But another moment that caught a lot of people's attention was the Billboard Music Awards, because she ended up going with Meg Thee Stallion. Here's a clip of Meg on the red carpet with Cara, and you could see that she's like messing with Meg's dress, and maybe she's trying to be a good friend and, get a good photo for Meg, but it seems very awkward and forced. So, I mean, Meg was trying to get that dress up. Honestly, I didn't think she even wanted the dress to be up, but then Cara steps in. So Meg didn't seem bothered in that moment, at least not as bothered as social media was by it, but someone who did seem annoyed that night was Doja Cat. So Meg and Cara were sitting right by Doja Cat, and when Meg and Doja were speaking, Cara inserted herself and Doja seemed a little bit bothered.
I think that was the flattest speech I ever gave. I was like, I love you too. Wait, I love you guys together. That's my mom.
It seems like Cara was losing her voice in that clip. At least her voice sounded very shot. But later on, Meg Thee Stallion shared a photo from that moment of her with Doja Cat. And actually, Cara was in the original photo, but Meg shared a version where she was cut out and it was just Doja and Meg. And it seemed like a little bit shady, like maybe Meg didn't appreciate having Cara as her date in the first place.
And then people are taking note of this moment when Doja Cat wins. Doja decides to chug her drink before going up on stage to accept her award for top R&B female artist. And I can't really tell exactly what Cara does, but Megan certainly gives her a look of annoyance. Cara also went for a unique angle when snapping a pic of Doja, DJ Khaled, and Fat Joe. Now, I don't know if the angle was Cara's idea or one of her three subjects' idea, but Fat Joe posted the photo afterwards, so he liked it.
At least Fat Joe liked the photo, but it does seem like Meg was pretty annoyed with her by the end of the night. And someone else who's been annoyed with Cara before has been Azalea Banks, which she, I guess, invited her on stage, or like Cara invited herself on stage, and she was all up on Azalea. And it's a very awkward clip I want to play for you guys because the behavior is just strange. Like, if I was Azalea, I would have kicked her right off. So she starts off pretending to lick Azalea's leg. Honestly, she appears to be drunk here. Then she gets up like close to Azalea, all up in her face. And I mean, Azalea's not even like acknowledging her at this point because I mean, Cara had been on stage for a couple minutes, so you could tell that she's visibly annoyed by her. So when she's out and about at these parties, at these concerts, at these award shows, she doesn't seem fully coherent, or at least she doesn't have great like social skills or like social cues to understand like when to back down. But there are even weirder clips of her in her home when she's private and all alone, and I'm talking about the bald video where she's like laying on the ground, not wearing any clothes, and she's like, "My precious," in an odd tone. We're gonna go ahead and react to it quickly, but I'm sure you guys have seen this clip before, and maybe she's just, you know, trying to be an actress or something, but this video is scary, so trigger warning.
Precious! Precious!
That video alone is so scary. I mean, imagine Britney Spears posting something like this. Like, they would put her back into a conservatorship, which they shouldn't, but like, they honestly would if she did something like this. So how does she get away with all of this behavior? In my opinion, it seems like Cara is going through mental health waves where sometimes she's at a high and then sometimes she's at a low. And then she's got some people in her life who come forward when she's at her lowest and help her get back up. But probably they don't help to fully heal her. But after this recent airport situation, her sister actually came from London to come and support her. Her sister's name is Poppy, and she's 6 years older than Cara, and she currently lives in London, but they were living together for the past 4 years. And I'm actually thankful that Cara does have this family support, because a lot of people in Hollywood, they don't. And it's nice to see that her sister saw something wrong and rushed to LA to be with her. Poppy was seen at a skincare studio in West Hollywood, which I'm like, where at? I mean, I would love to go to a skincare studio, but she told reporters that her sister was doing fine. And this was all after the press had pushed this narrative that, you know, she's not okay and that her family feared that they needed to do an urgent intervention, which maybe they do need to do an intervention, and maybe they're currently doing this right now, but it doesn't seem like it's something that sticks, or at least it hasn't in the past. There are also other people in the industry who are worried about her, like this model named Caprice. Caprice is also a very successful model, and she claims that when she was 25 at the height of her career and she made her first $1 million, she went crazy. And she's starting to see some of herself in Cara, and she's trying to, I guess, help her out. But I don't know if, like, you know, going to the Sun and speaking to them is necessarily helping her out. It would have been nice if she reached out to her privately. Kind of seems like she tried to like hop onto this like trending topic and put her name out there. But nonetheless, there are people in the industry who recognize a problem and they want to help her, which she deserves to seek help. She doesn't deserve to publicly spiral like this. And what worries me about Cara is that her mother also struggled with addiction in the past. So this is something that does run in her family. I actually found online that her mother, Pandora, supposedly struggled with heroin before she ever had her children in the first place, but still she struggled with this, and her mother was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which if you have a mental health issue that goes untreated, then the likelihood of you like self-medicating jumps way higher because there's an issue here that's not being addressed and you're coping with it through substances. One thing I did find a little concerning is that supposedly Cara is trying to manifest a baby. So like I mentioned earlier, she had been living with her sister Poppy for about 4 years, and now she's living alone and she's super lonely. So she's trying to manifest a baby by buying baby clothes and shoes. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to fix all the problems. You know what I mean? Like, loneliness won't be fixed by a baby. It's just like you're going to pass on those problems to that baby. At the end of the day, I wish the best for her. And I think that this is an important story that can turn around and we can see her prevail, you know, in maybe a sober situation. I mean, granted, we don't even know if she's using anything. We know that she's like smoking pot probably because of those pictures in the car, but like, who really knows? And I don't want to assume that she's on some drugs, but like pretty much the entire world believes it. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I'm worried about her. Here's my email if you have any other video ideas for me, and I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye guys.